Our topic for today is digital leadership and organizational transformation as has been advertised. You will agree with me that for the benefit of or for the want of time, I'm going to go a bit faster so that we can make up the time and then have more discussions at the tail end of the presentation. The approach will be I'll finish the presentation and then we'll take the questions and answer suggestions at the end of the presentation. You will agree with me that come each day somewhere on the continent of Africa or the general globe as we speak, the life of a gazelle is defined largely by recognizing one fact that it must outrun the fastest lion or it will become a meal for the day. Likewise, the lion knows very well that if he doesn't outrun the fastest gazelle, it will perish. This gazelle and the lion routine survival phenomenon is very, very much applicable to our world of business, our world of public service, our world of, if you like, non-governmental agencies. Our very survival, or for us to thrive, we need to be ahead of the game. As said by the CEO in his introductory remarks, he mentioned that times where in the past where we had typewriters and all that, we have metamorphosed from all those, phases of life, corporate life, to a current state. Now, when you see the global space today, somewhere starting from 2008, where we have the financial, crisis, COVID came in, COVID-19 pandemic, rapid technological changes, the Ukraine, and currently the US, Israel, Iran war is continuously changing the face of business or corporate life. And it is for that reason that we have come to appreciate that AI-powered Internet of Things, social media, the vibrancy of it, and all that is something happens today, is on the net, access to information, access to business position, business performance, everything is out there. And so leaders of businesses cannot afford to stay aloof and, just watch the space. There is the need to embrace what has become known as the digital leadership in order to thrive, not just to survive, but to thrive. And so when we talk about our leadership space, we are more or less getting to a point where we get to appreciate that it is the digital leadership is not is non-negotiable. You cannot say you are not part of the game. You are not part of the movement towards transformation of your space. The current operational space require you to embrace digital leadership. We're going to look at what digital leadership is all about so that we give it the right context. So my objective for this presentation is to kind of, first of all, mirror the nature of the current global operational environment and then project the key tenets, including the roles that leaders need to play by way of digital leadership and to arrive at organizational transformation so that we can set the stage for a longer conversation or deliberation on how our leadership skills can be, improved in order to transform our organization. By way of scope, I will dwell as spelled out in the objective. What is the current state of affairs? What is the world we are in, the operational environment? What is defining that environment? And the meaning and principles as applied to digital leadership, what is it? And organizational transformation, when we talk about organizational transformation, contextually, what are we talking about? What is the role of digital leaders in that organizational transformation? Then I'll call all of us to an action point where we all take home something that we need to work on. Then I'll pause there for questions and clarifications and other contributions from us. Now, you'll all agree with me that current developments that we are witnessing today, practically the impact across the globe we are all seeing. In Ghana, it's impacting on fuel, it's impacting on business projections, budgets are being thrown off, and there are a lot of things are happening within our spaces. That is meaning that digital leadership alignment will have to be on the go, continuously engaging the space that we find ourselves in. But then let's look at how generally the world has transitioned up to where we are now and where it is going. Few years back, about a couple of decades back, the world was described as VUCA. VUCA means volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. This was coined largely by the U.S. Army War College following the 9/11 bombing of the Pentagon and associated, structures in the U.S. because they were trying to appreciate what is happening within the security space, that now the security space or the operational space has become so volatile. So that's how they coin it. Other scholars continue to describe that space as tuna, where they say the world space, the business space has become turbulent, uncertain, and novel. New things are coming up every day. We wake up to new things. And then ambiguity where it is difficult to pin or pinpoint a particular understanding of what is happening. And some other scholars also describe it as bunny, where you say it's brittle. It appears to be real, but not real. So what your projections are may not necessarily be right. So it means continuous monitoring becomes key. And in that environment, or in this environment, as described by the proponent of Bunny, said it's creating anxiety day in, day out. There is anxiousness. There's anxiety among, everyone across the globe. What is the next thing that is happening? And the occurrences are not in any order. They are non-linear, to the extent that you cannot predict exactly what is likely to happen next without continuously keeping your eyes on the ball. And incomprehensible, that is the I, meaning that understanding is, kind of plagued somehow. But within the digital space itself, as applies to organizations, scholars and industry experts describe it currently as flux. Flux in the sense that it is fast moving, accelerating, and continuously at a continuous rate that is exponential. So change is constant, and that constant change is more rapid than we can think of. And it is liquid because it is so flexible, boundaryless, and adaptive systems will have to be looked at. Different things are coming up every day. For example, in our world today, as the CEO mentioned, the phones we used to have, now with a touch of your phone in your hand, you can transact business anywhere you are. That is the kind of world we are. Hitherto, you have to get to the office before you can sign a check, before you can give authorization to any business activity. But wherever you are, whether even you are in flight, you can still have your business, moving on. And it's uncharted because it's unknown, novel. Look at artificial intelligence, the wonders that AI is doing in our businesses. That is the world we are in. And I know all of us are very much aware of these things already, but just to recap our minds, or kind of remind all of us about the world we are in. There's no playbook to the game. You don't have a blueprint to work with because new things are coming up every day. If you don't keep your eyes on the ball and continuously monitor the space, your strategic plans become obsolete in no time. They are rendered useless in no time. Then experimental. What it means is that the occurrences require some, novel ideas, innovation for you to keep your operations running. Innovation is key, and so competencies will have to be developed for you to function within the current environment, especially the environment that is digitally driven. We cannot afford to do that. Now, these things are not surprising. Jacob Morgan, in one of these leadership scholars called Jacob Morgan, he predicted in February 2020 that there are 6 trends that will shape the world by 2020, 2030. That is the leadership space. And AI and other technologies is also one. And the pace of change, it predicted a new talent landscape. We have the Gen Zs coming up. You agree with me, within your workspaces, the Gen Zs attitude to work, their culture is quite different from the older generations. Talk about the Generation X, the baby boomers, and all that. The culture, the work culture is different, and that is what is trending. Even including the language that the Gen Zs speak are not comprehensible by the other generations. And you will know, you will agree with me that most of the younger folks in your workspaces are changing the landscape. And this prediction, we are in 2026, and 6 years down the line, we are seeing the realities happening with us. Your guess is as good as mine as we move towards 2030. Now, purpose and meaning is also going to define the space, the leadership space. And that is what is a reality. Morality, ethics, and transparency issues, as people become more aware of their rights and they are digitally informed. Social media vibrancy is informing people back in the village somewhere, they know what is trending. So these issues of morality, ethics, and transparency will inform leadership space. Leaders will be expected to act ethically and within a certain space and boundaries. And of course, the question is whether we are ready for that or not. Now, globalization, I don't need to belabor this point. Across the globe, as we can see, anything happening anywhere is affecting us. Countries and businesses are tempted to, as a friend of mine calls it, deglobalize by acting locally to cushion the safety or the security of their operations. But then we are in a global space. Globalization will continue to impact on us. What are you as a leader within the space doing to make sure you survive or you thrive? These are the things. Now, if that is the global operational space that we have, digitally speaking, or in a flux world where things are fast, liquid, because flexibility that requires you to adapt, uncharted, asking you or requiring you to be innovative. The question I want to ask you is, what are you doing within the space? What is your leadership style? What are you doing to embrace technology? Yes, you might have put certain things, systems in place, but are you a digital leader? By that, we come to the issue of digital leadership. What do we mean contextually? What are we talking about? In the flux environment, the digital leadership becomes a strategic approach to leading your teams or your organization. It's about leveraging digital technologies to drive the success of your organization. It's also about integrating digital strategies into your leadership engagements or undertakings. Without that, you will be acting with the old knowledge that you have. What is your own knowledge within the digital space? As you leverage technology to foster and drive innovation and efficiency, you are navigating the complexities of the flux landscape. And by so doing, you are being a digital leader. That is the contextual, initial contextual meaning of the digital leadership. Then it is not applicable only to the tech industry. It's applicable to all industries across the globe. Every sector of the economy, this digital leadership is applicable. Now, if we take the service industry, you take the manufacturing industry, you take the governance space, all this digital leadership that we're talking about, they are applicable. Applicable in the sense that the service industry today, you and I know, you can sit in the comforts of your office and order anything and it will be delivered onto you. It is because somebody somewhere has embraced digital systems or leveraging on technology to drive business efficiency? What is your own state within your environment or your organization? The digital leadership is not just a cliche. It is now the differentiator between thriving and merely surviving. If you want your business to just survive business as usual, then you may want to remain where you are. But with digital leadership, you want to thrive so that you can, match up and be aligned with the today's fast-paced and digital-driven flex operational environment. Now, what are the critical principles underpinning this? In order not to make it, sound theoretical in your mind, let me just ask that, what is the decision, what is the approach, what factors do you consider in your decision making? Your decision making as applicable to digital leadership, must hinge on one critical thing: data, analytical data. What is your dashboard saying? Do you have a dashboard? Do you have data-driven approach to decision making? If you do, then you are talking about you operating within a digital leadership space, or you are matching up to the flux of operational environment that we're talking about. Dexterity or dexterity, as depending on where you're coming from, is also a key thing to, your flexibility in embracing new things, your open-mindedness to embrace new ideas, your open-mindedness to harness the technological, savviness of the younger generation to drive your business is a principle that you as a digital leader must embrace. Then genuinity, authenticity. Are you yourself? Authenticity is also a key factor when it comes to digital leadership. What is your own state of affairs when it comes to digital knowledge? Are you a digital savvy, and how open-minded are you to learn? Do you admit your own shortcomings and willing to embrace the technological advances that have been made within the space and the new things that are coming up? Today, you give your phone to your younger child, the things they can do with that phone will amaze you. It's so amazing how they have embraced so much within the space. Then building an ecosystem within your space is also a principle. Now, quickly, when we look at those 4 principles that we spoke about, it's about visionary thinking, it's about adaptability, it's about promoting innovation, data-driven decision-making, and customer-centric. How are you tapping into the technological space to satisfy the customer, to make the customer happy, to also collaboration across? Which spaces are you utilizing? How are you tapping into the tech space to collaborate with either competitors or even collaborate with other businesses in your industry to thrive? Then, what culture are you promoting within your organization? Is it a learning organization? A learning organization ensures that continuous learning is what is the case. Lessons are learned after every action or activity and implemented so that the organization keeps growing. Now, digital leaders have character and competency. What is your character? Integrity, your intent are the key things. Honesty, congruence, humility, and courage. Do you have the courage to effect change within your space? And how do you effect that change? We'll look at that space soon. What is your motive? What is the agenda? What is the behavior? These are all part of character. What is in your character as a digital leader? Now, competency has to do with capability. Do you have the capability, technology, or digital literacy? What is your own state? Now, which results are you, or have you generated over the period? Now, the talents within how are you developing those talents? Attitudes, skills, knowledge, and the style of leadership. Are you adaptable? Are you open-minded? Now, what results from the past is informing your present towards the future. They are all part of the digital leadership mindset that we need to have. Why it is important, I don't need to belabor it, is because we want to navigate around the digital transformation so as to transform our businesses. The operational space is changing. It will help us, if we are digital leaders, it will help us to manage or efficiently manage our operations and customer expectations. We will also remain competitive. Now, there is this thought about not just being competitive, but also being adaptive, because remaining just ahead of competition may not necessarily be enough. You have to be adaptable. There are companies today that you see them, they are number one. Yes, you are number one, but others may be more open to adaptability. So they change with time. They are monitoring the space. If you focus just on being ahead of the game or competitive, by the time you realize, your competitors or your other operators within your space overtake you and they are gone. And you may have to invest so much to catch up. Now, digital leadership is also about adapting to global trends. We operate in a global space. So digital leadership is not theoretical. It is something we all have to do. We should not limit it to the IT managers or IT officers within our companies. A leader foresees the future. We said one of the principles is to be visionary. How do you see your business in the next 10, 5, 15 years within the fast-paced digital space that we are operating in? That is why it's important. Now, how do we marry this to organizational transformation? Yes, I have mentioned about how do you leverage on technology to do that. But what do we mean, or how do we mean when we say organizational transformation, so that we also put it in the right context? Organizational transformation cannot be any other thing apart from a planned change to your structure, your culture, and the processes. Let's take note of planned change. It is not a haphazard change. As you watch the space, as you watch the digital space or the technological space, what plans are you putting in place? What structures are you putting in place? What is the culture? What are the processes? The yesterday's culture, which is highly, or which has been highly hierarchical, is no more applicable in today's environment. Now, it's also about strategic approach in helping your organization adapt, compete, and meet future goals. So what it means is that the transformation cannot just happen in a vacuum. It must be deliberate, it must be intentional, coupled with digital transformations that are happening within all the technological changes that are occurring around us. It also means changing from a hierarchical structure to a more agile, team-based structure. Like I said, the teams we have today at the workplace, the younger folks are digital service. They are very, very, good at technology. They are digital literates born into the space, so they function differently. So where a lot of organizations are applying brick and mortar presence in the office, most of the younger people believe that they can be anywhere and work and deliver on their performances or their KPIs. What is your stand as a leader? Do you necessarily have to see people in the offices? In fact, if we have not learned anything from COVID-19, one key thing that we learned was that even though we were not in offices, we still survived with working from home digitally on digital platforms. Meetings were held and we still continued our operations. So it saved companies some costs. So what are you doing to transform? How are you leveraging on technology to transform your business? So when we talk about organizational transformation, it's also about transforming your operations to embrace online sales and marketing, or merging or acquiring others and switching from an on-premise IT infrastructure to cloud-based solutions. Now, as part of this whole organizational transformations also hinges on business continuity planning. How many of our companies have cloud storage platforms so that if there's a breakdown in an on-site IT infrastructure, we can still continue our operations? How many of us? So business continuity planning is also key. So how many do you have alternative, operational offices or operational spaces? So this is something that as a digital leader, you want to press your mind to or with. Now, the role is that you need to have insights, you need to have vision, you need to carry out some prototyping and also scaling. But generally speaking, we are talking about digital leaders need to drive innovation in order to achieve organizational transformation. You must also promote digital literacy. Your organizational adaptability and competitiveness in the digital space is also key to your roles that you play on daily basis. You must provide strategic vision and agility. Now, there's this whole cliche within our spaces where we just say, what is the vision of the company? Yes, it is static, it is stated, clearly printed and seen on the walls and in our books and all that. But how is that vision aligned with the transformation that we are seeing within the space? So the old books taught us that a vision is a long-term plan. But when you juxtapose it on today's, operational space, you realize that there's a need to keep going back to that vision in order to align it with the current occurrences. It may be that what you envision to be in the next whatever is not applicable anymore. And the worst case is that most of our people do not even understand the vision of the company. There's a disjoint between the vision and operational activities. Now, digital leadership also requires to focus on data-driven decision making. It's no longer based on past experiences or the whims and caprices of an individual or the leader, the CEO. You have to ask yourself one critical question. What has informed our performance over the years or over the months or over the weeks? Constantly, businesses or organizations will need to have records, dashboards that inform their decisions. And I call it business intelligence adaptability. You have to be ahead of the game. What intelligence are you gathering? And aligning it and interpreting it with what has transpired over a period of time. That will inform the next line of decision you take, but not based on this is what I feel must be done. In my experience, no. Within the space, because things are changing so fast, you must have teams that are monitoring the space across board in order to ensure that your decisions are based on data. Data analytics is what is informing the game now. So if you want to be seen as a digital leader that will eventually or who will eventually transform your organization, you must embrace data analytics so that your decisions can be, evidence-based, not just anything. Now, digital leadership role requires you to be a future seeker. You must be ready to shape your business, not just as you met it. How are you shaping it? How are you using the technological space to reshape your business? What are you using that space to champion your customer experience? What ecosystem are you building? Organizational transformation, what are you doing? Innovation accelerator. In your own space, even as the leader in your unique space, your organization, that small department, that unit, what innovation are you bringing on board? Is there a way that work efficiency can be promoted by people necessarily not sitting in office or working, but still deliver? What innovations are you bringing? Which talents are you building? Which talents are you discovering within the space so that you can equip people with the right talents to drive the change you want to see or to kind of be the catalyst in changing your culture? What engagements are you also bringing across? So, in effect, if you want to be a digital leader, you must provide that direction. You must be aligned with the current trends and you must show commitment by living or demonstrating it in your daily activities. What further explanation is that you must anticipate the future. We must all develop digital strategy for our businesses. Not many businesses in Ghana have digital strategy. There must be deliberate, intentional effort to, if you don't have the IT staff or the expert to guide you, seek for one and have a digital strategy. Your social media, what is the strategy in engaging the social media? Your website, what is it that you seek to achieve with your website? In other using other technologies or leveraging on other technologies, what are you seeking to achieve? You must also drive digital transformation. What is the system at play now? And data-driven decision making. Are you leveraging on data insights? Are you managing data and using analytics? Are you promoting a data-driven culture whereby across the entire organization, decisions are made based on available data and predictions? Now, are you also fostering innovation and creativity? There are a lot of businesses in our part of the world where, especially those run by what we call the MBAs, still believe that this is how things have been done and it must be this way. Let's get up, utilize the opportunity to, harness the talent of the younger people to promote innovation and creativity in our workplaces. Digital literacy is key to our success. Now, I don't want to belabor this point. Agility and adaptability, they are key to responding to the changes we experience every day. We must be flexible, we must prioritize speed and efficiency. Cyber security awareness is another layer that can turn down our business or run down our businesses in no time. So, as a digital leader, are you prioritizing security? Are you staying informed? Are you building a security culture within your organization? Indeed, in your effort to bring about all this, there are challenges that you're going to face. It's just like in every human being, even though it is said that change is a constant thing in life, we all resist change. It is not easy for teams or even individuals to embrace change. Some challenges to this will be people will resist it because there's an apprehension as to what is the unknown. Not everybody will understand where you are going. That change will come. Some people will feel there's a potential job lost, their relevance in the workplace will not be felt anymore. Also, because there is lack of digital literacy, some people will feel, I don't have this, so I may be left, or I may be, sent away, or I may be sacked, if that's the right word for your organization, or you may be relieved of your post. Now, other people, because of lack of knowledge about where the business is going, some leaders want to effect change, transform the business without engaging. So siloed units can come up because they don't know, they don't want to collaborate with other people, they don't want to work with other guys or the IT. So there's this disjointed digital transformation effort. Some departments are embracing digital transformation, others are not. It's because the human being by nature will feel apprehensive. Now, cultural inertia is also another challenge that you're going to face as a digital leader. Digital initiatives that favoring traditional methods over innovation. Many people at the workplace today will still believe that this is how we got to do it, and others will believe that changing the course will mean a lot for us. Some of us will become redundant, and that is not the way to go. So it's a challenge that digital leaders must be aware of, and we need to find a way out. And the way out is that as you embrace or you want to leverage on technology by designing and developing in order to deliver service, you must, by way of technical side, you must also provide a reason for the change. Where are we? What is our transition state and what is the future state? And as you work on the technical side, you must also work on the people side, and by engaging, adopting, and using. Now, finally, I want us to look at managing complex changes. If you do not have vision or skill, incentive, resources, or action plan, your change that you want to bring will not be complete, will not be a success. So this is just as you see on the screen. In all this, what makes your plan perfect or your change successful will be there must be a vision, there must be skill sets available, there must be incentives provided, and resources available, and then the action plan, which needs to be tracked. With this, I believe that we can transform our organizations with digital leadership. In conclusion, the flax world landscape change is no longer just volatile, it's constant and it's compounding. Uncertainty is not just something that you foresee that is going to happen, but it must be embedded, or it is embedded in every layer of AI-powered decision making, data-driven decision making. Now, complexity has taken a new dimension because AI's ability to process vast amounts of data is, informing the space, and ambiguity is also, evolving into spaces where traditional frameworks no longer apply. With this, digital leadership is the way to go. And for us, we must consider it as the key denominator in driving your organizational transformation in the flax operational space. Digital leadership is just non-negotiable in bringing about that transformation within your organization. With this, I call on all of us that we must embrace systemic change right down to the employees' day-to-day activities. We must engage in careful planning, patience, and persistence, which are the main success factors. How do we achieve that? Let's understand the change capabilities and the maturity. Let's align leadership style. Let's engage the stakeholders. Let's promote digital literacy, redesign processes, and introduce new technologies because they are available day in, day out. They are coming up. What are we doing to embrace those ones? Let's integrate project management into implementation. Those of us who are conversant with project management, projects are in phases. So let's integrate project management into implementation. And with that, sustained outcomes will be the result through learning and improvements. Remember, all of us, including myself, the relevance of knowledge lies in its application. With all what we have heard, with what we're going to hear from the participants, what are we going to do? Willingness only becomes relevant when the requisite action is taken. Thank you. And as you see on the screen, my upcoming new books are there. This is already in the market. That is the corporate strategy, the VUCA world, and the future of corporate strategy and leadership. The new ones are coming up. Those who are interested can get in touch with the IoD, and copies will be made available as when they come out. Thank you very much, and may God bless our country, Ghana, and bless us all. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Doc. I've seen from the chat box some comments there. Mr. Ishmael Ochri said, great presentation. Mr. Joseph Ofori Apia said, insightful. Joseph Nyangonu said, well presented, sir. Please, we open the floor for questions. Okay, we have a hand up, Mr. Abdullah Zakari.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Salisa, and thank you so much, Doc, for the wonderful presentation and the insight given us into these digital issues. But we all know undoubtedly that human resource is one of the major components or inputs that can determine the success or failure of every leader. And Doc, in your presentation, you've mentioned Gen Zs, I think not less than 3 times. So I would like to appeal to your own good self, Doc, and then IoD, our institute, to actually consider the issue of Gen Zs seriously because it is a technical issue. So that if IOD can actually organize a comprehensive webinar or discussion on the management of Gen Zs, I think it will help a lot. Or and treat all of us also in our own ways to deep further into how to manage this generation Z in our various organizations. Thank you so much.
Thank you
I
so
have a
much,
question.
Mr. Yes, madam.
Good
Madam
afternoon.
Klenam.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Doc, for that stimulating presentation. I want to find out from you, what about if you are the product or the services? What advice do you have for us?
Can you please come again? If I am the product or the service, I
Yeah,
don't get it.
let's say you are not from an organization.
Okay.
Yes. So what advice do you have for us? How do we position ourselves?
Okay. The coordinator, can I proceed to answer, or are we taking a number of questions?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. All right. So indeed, if I am a customer or a beneficiary of a company's service, or service, for example, I want to see the best. We have this what we call the customer experience. That experience is what will keep me coming back. For example, if a company or an organization has a platform, a digital platform where services are rendered, my experience on that platform should be such a way that I will want to go back. It should satisfy me.
Okay,
It should
Doc,
meet my
please, sorry for
expectations.
cutting you, Doc.
Okay.
Sorry for cutting you. I am talking in, we have organizations and we have individuals who also provide services and all that. So I'm talking about, how do an individual, maybe you are a consultant, as you do not belong to any organization, how do we position ourselves to be relevant, to continue to be relevant in this dispensation?
All right. So as a consultant like myself, I should not only be interested in physical delivery of my services. I should also be able to leverage on technology to provide those services. Today, I am in Ghana. I talk to people in Kenya and other places, still delivering my services. It shouldn't be I have to necessarily be present. When there is the need to be present physically, fine. But there are stages of the consultancy services that can be done online, or which technology provides us easily. So individuals providing services should embrace the same platforms. Leverage, if you want to be a digital leader within your space as a consultant, you must equally leverage on the digital infrastructure. Your office setup, is it ready for conferencing? Even within your own home, there are times that you may be called to deliver a service. Are you really ready to do that? So individuals can equally employ a digital space or infrastructure to achieve that as consultants or business service providers. Yeah. I hope I've answered you.
Quick one. Please, can I make a comment?
Please go ahead,
Please
sir.
go ahead.
Okay. So my name is Ishmael Ochele. Yeah, that's very insightful, as I already said. The challenge is particularly in terms of the digital finance, because we don't have a choice as banking environment to embrace digitalization, but no matter what systems we put in place, these things are operated on the other platforms, the telco platforms. And some of the challenges that we have in terms of the risk involved. The question is whether, in terms of digital finance, whether Ghana is ready so far as the institutions are concerned, we are rushing to embrace, but whether the environment is ready, whether the telcos, in view of some of the challenges that we are having, is ready to accept this kind of digital, driven strategies. So I want your comment on that.
All right. Thank you. I believe you and I recognize the fact that we have come a long way. Gone were the days that certain things couldn't have been done easily. As the CEO mentioned, you have the analog platforms. We move gradually to now we have intelligent platforms and all that. And then now, Ghana as a country, you will also agree with me that over time, the infrastructure is an ongoing project. So much has been done in the past and is still ongoing. So I believe that as we implement and then we continuously monitor. Remember, I said that we sustain the outcomes by continuously learning from what we are doing. So even in the past 5 years, a lot has happened within the tech space. Regulation, legal framework has come in, cybersecurity has been improved, monitoring has been improved. The systems that the telcos are putting in place to ward off these cyber criminals are also improving. So step by step, I think we are moving. Ghana is more ready now than before, and I believe we'll be better ready even from the days or the months to come. So it's not, even in the developed world, they still experience these cyber crimes and these frauds. So it's a continuous improvement process. There's no digital infrastructure that is foolproof. That is why it is continuously monitored. And then there are even what they call the ethical hackers, so that they are able to even get to improve on the system as so to make it better. So I think we are in there, and with continuous monitoring, it will be better than we see today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc.
I see in the comments, sorry, Celestial, I think with a quick comments on the Gen Z's engagement. What I can only say, not to speak on behalf of the AOD, the CEO, but is to say that all of us as leaders in our organizations should first of all recognize the input, the great inputs we can get from the Gen Zs. We need to get to understand where they are coming from, their background, their experiences, their approach to doing things. Then we can harness their potentials very well. That's a quick comment from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. So we take one question from the chat box, then one question from the hand raised from Mr. Osman. Then we'll draw the curtain because it's past time. So the question for Madam Laurentia is, please, in the manufacturing sector, where we need the physical presence of individuals to operate and supervise activities, how do we apply the digital leadership on the production floor?
All right, thank you very much. I have worked in the manufacturing sector, and I appreciate the physical presence, but even with that, there are digital platforms or infrastructure that can also equally be remotely implemented. So the number of times the individual needs to be present for things to work, except some aspects of the production process. So the digital leadership still applies in the production process. On the production floor, settings are done on the digital systems, unlike before, where you have to physically be there and be fixing things one after the other. But settings are now done in such a way that if it is to produce, let's say a production line produce 100 packs of something, it can be set, and monitoring is done even away from the production floor. Then where there are hiccups, the system prompts ahead and then they are rectified. So it's equally applicable within the manufacturing sector as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So we take the last question from Mr. Osman Abdul Rahman.
All right.
Please, just
Okay.
to
All
let
right. Thank you very much.
participants know that. Hello, sir. Please, just a moment. Just to make everybody know that the recording of this presentation will be made available on the platforms by close of day Thursday. Mr. Osman, you have the floor, please.
All right. Thank you very much, Celestia. Again, my name is Osman Abdul Rahman. Thank you very much for a very good presentation. But one of the things we mentioned is about resistance. And it's something that I think is something that has to be dealt with. I mean, we have been, anytime we want to recruit, who advertise, people will apply, send through their emails and all that. And it used to take us 3 to 4 weeks to get these applications, download them, write them up, and then, do everything. But today, when we have selected a certain application that we are using, everything comes in, and within 3 days, you get everything set up. Now, the challenge also with this is that people in the HR now find that there's not much more less work to do. And so there is the fear that probably they will lose their jobs or something. And so, because of that, sometimes we find problems about the app and things like that. So, Doc, is there a way that we can go around this point so that people can, feel secure, in in this changing environment? Definitely, that we're talking about digital applications and things like that. Thank you very much.
All right, that's a very good one. With it borders or it fits into the question: will AI take the place of the human being? I believe that the AI is to complement the work of the human being. So the fear that you rightly said it, when you adopted a digital platform, the work is faster. But the human factor is still in there. The human factor is to scrutinize and be pretty sure that the documents that are received speak to the very facts that they are looking for, or the very things that they are looking for. And verification cannot be done on platforms or on digital platforms. The human being will still have to go ahead and verify the facts stated in the supply documents or the information or the available information. So the human factor is still there. Unless sometimes a lot of the departments, in terms of my sisters within the talent management space, jump to conclusion that once we have a digital platform, we do no longer need the human being. The human being is as critical as the digital platform. Who detects the mistakes? Physical verification, who does it? So the digital platforms are not to take over, in my humble view, are not to take over from the human beings, but it's to complement the effort. Yes, it may reduce the volume of work of the human element, but it is not to take it away totally. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be the speaker for this auspicious occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doc. And at this point, we want to welcome Dr. Brema to give us the closing remarks for this session. Doc, please, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Celestial, Director, Head of Operations. Doc, for me, is basically to say a big thank you. The comments on the chat box speaks volumes, and it's all full of commendations. I just want to make a couple of comments as part of my closing remarks. And the first one basically has to do with harnessing the talents of the younger people. Just like the likes of Olivetti and the BlackBerry went to sleep and therefore were swept away by the tsunami of change. I think as far as harnessing the talents of the youth is concerned, we have no choice. And I believe in every single house, if you have children, one of the main challenges that you have and you keep fighting every day is to keep the children away from the intelligence systems. I mean, the phones. So if we decide not to harness them, they will harness themselves. And I think we need to be absolutely clear about that. The second one, which is the manufacturing sector, I mean, the question on the manufacturing sector, we need to also understand that the digital world is actually creating physical structures to do some of the work. Robots operating in manufacturing facilities, robots serving in restaurants, etc. What does that mean? I mean, just going back to the individual level, it basically means that we ourselves will have to upskill ourselves to actually be able to manage those kind of infrastructures. And I remember in the late 90s, I mean 1997, when Unilever in the UK started introducing robots, those who could cope with the new technology, the new changes, the new information systems, maintain their jobs. So it is basically at the individual level for us to embrace that change and therefore make ourselves relevant. What does that mean overall for me? It basically means, and Dr. Abe has so eloquently established this, vision is key. That will inform objectives and goals. Strategy is key to drive execution. We have to make, this whole area of digital transformation an integral part of business strategy, whether at the individual level, running as a consultant, or at the corporate level. So on this note, I want, on behalf of the President and Vice and the Council of the Institute of Directors Ghana, to thank Dr. Victor Abe for this excellent expose. And I believe that we will continue to engage as participants on this platform and as members of the Institute as we move on. On a lighter note, and finally, to Mr. Abdallah Zakaria, by his donation, I can tell where he's from. And I want to tell him that even in Tamale these days, they sell cocoa using e-business platforms. So if he has not started ordering cocoa on those platforms, he should learn the skills and start doing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. So on this note, we draw the curtain for today's seminar. Please watch out on the platform for the next seminar, and the recordings will be shared by Thursday on the platforms as well. It's a good afternoon from us, from IoD Ghana, to everybody, and a bye for now.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Environment and sanitation. This is the largest group, which covers over 60% of the Jospon Group operations, with businesses in the circular economy space comprising of waste management in terms of public cleansing, residential waste collection, treatment and processing of liquid waste, solid waste, and medical waste. The cluster also includes major companies that also undertake recycling of plastic and organic waste, being the largest producer of organic compost fertilizer in Ghana. It holds the most individual subsidiaries and the highest percentage profit contribution to the group, starring the biggest waste management company in West Africa, Zoom Lion Ghana Limited.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Run 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Go Super XP Run 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Go Super XP Run 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Go Super XP Run 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Go Super XP Run 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Financial protection for yourself, businesses, and properties remain a few of the major concerns for hardworking people like you. That is exactly why having insurance is so important. Don't we all wish for the ability to keep our expenses at the bare minimum while attaining maximum benefits? This is where KEK as your insurance broker comes in. Unfortunately, there is a common misconception that hiring a broker will drive up your insurance costs. This is just a myth. Let's debunk some of these insurance myths, shall we? 1. You have to pay insurance brokers for their services. That's not true. You do not have to pay any special fees when you use KEK as your insurance broker. Broker fees are fixed in premium quotations, and this is the way it is done all over the world. In fact, we rather work to reduce the premiums you have to pay due to our world-class negotiation skills. 2. You can do a better job managing your insurance. We at KEK Insurance Brokers are specialists who have in-depth understanding of the insurance market. We are experts in the insurance business, and we pass on this extensive knowledge and expertise to the client through competitive pricing, claims management, and the general administration of policies. So get insured today. Let KEK be the one to help you. You can reach us via social media handles or visit our offices at KEK Insurance Broking House, number 40/41 Senchi Street at Aviation Road, Airport Residential Area, Accra.